Hi, this is Majin, and here's my comic review and pull list for October 11th, 2017. We're starting off with the visual novel, a light novel called The Zodiac Wars. Now, this is put out by Viz, and surprisingly, it's a nice little hardcover. So this really is not going to be a light novel. But also, the anime for this has started, so I'm really curious to see how many episodes are going to fit in this. But I'll start reading this soon. Next up, we have Baby Teeth from Aftershock. Now, Baby Teeth is, like I said, I don't know if you've remembered, it's like this weird Rosemary's Baby thing. This woman's she basically birthed the Antichrist, and now people are coming to the baby. Like, for an example, last issue they had the mercenary assassin, and now there's this crazy mage guy who's up to shenanigans. Now, oddly enough, the assassin was the good one, because if they killed the baby, then everything would have been fine. But this guy, he's got other motives. So it's still a decent read. It's not the greatest, but it's decent. Scooby Apocalypse number 18. Haven't read this one yet. Batman Detective Comics number 966. Now, this is basically the two Robins fighting off Doomsday. And then on top of that, we actually learn a lot about Robin and his potential, or I should say Tim Drake and his potential history. And basically, I think what we're going to find is, some people are really going to like it, and other people are just going to go, ugh. I think it's okay. In a way, if you look at the big picture of things, this is showing, okay, if you take for granted that these two characters are supposed to be in the same timeline, which you would think, because Oz pulled them out of their timeline, one from the future, one from the past, or I should say present, depending upon how you look at it, but time's off. And at the end of this issue, the future Tim Drake realizes, hey, something's wrong. And if you think about what Rebirth is, it is about, the rebuilding of the universe. Certain events did or maybe didn't occur the way you thought they did. So it's kind of like putting those odd situations into perspective, like, hey, they did happen, but something's wrong. The timeline is off. So I think that's an interesting way of putting, like, at least acknowledging that certain things happened. Certain people existed. Alright, then we have the monster that is Dark Knight's Metal. Number 3. Now, the thing I don't get is this. Okay, you have the evil dark heroes, villains, whatever you want to call them. They've destroyed everything. Like, cities are just overrun, and millions of people are just dead, or they're being used as batteries. Now, the thing I don't get is, while this is a great end of the world scenario type story, what happens when it's done? You know what I mean? It's like everything goes right back the way everybody left it. And knowing that, it kind of, defeats the purpose of existing this comic. Like, to put this thing into perspective, when I first read the DC Comics Crisis on Infinite Earths, it was this like, what the heck is going on? Worlds are being destroyed, and we knew it was an event, but yet you still had the existing comics that are going on, and you get that acknowledgement, like it'd be this, and then you would see Clark go, "There's a crisis on Infinite Earths occurring," and then you go to the next page, and then it's basically the next part of the story, the next panel. So, but again, I at least acknowledged it, and when I read that, it was more like, what the heck is going to happen? There were supposed to be big changes, but we didn't know what the big changes were going to be, and it actually the story had weight to it. When Crisis was over, even though granted everything was crazy, and then They snapped it all the worlds into one. It made sense and it was good. But we see this story time and time again where this is both Marvel and DC here, where like the world just gets pushed to the edge, it's destroyed. It's just like how many times has Gotham City been on fire since Rebirth? Rebirth #1, and it's kind of like how many times are you going to tell that story without having serious consequences? And because every time you do it, well, yeah, look at this big thing that's going on, it means absolutely nothing. And as much as I really like Metal, I'm finding it as a story that's like an Elseworlds book, a what if. What if there was a dark universe and it was killing things? Tim Drake, or not Tim Drake, one of the Robins is saying, we lost the Teen Titans. Well, okay, you lost the Teen Titans. They were kids. Okay, that happened in a panel. There's no emotion behind it. There's no weight behind the we lost the Titans. And when this is all done, they're all going to come back. Perfect, alive. And, this is where I'm struggling with this book. It's well written. The art is fantastic. Capullo and Snyder make a great team together, but it's just it's a fake story. It means nothing, and heck, you can argue Secret Empire had more weight behind the story because it was still in their universe. Things changed, and they, granted they destroyed cities and things like that. There was problems, but it didn't go to the apocalyptic point where they couldn't come back from. And this went to the apocalyptic point. There's crazy stuff going on in here. It's okay. It's a good story, but I don't know. To me, it's just there's a part of me that is holding back from really enjoying it just because I know it means nothing in the long run. And finally, we have Redlands. I haven't read Redlands. I got issue 2 still. I still have to read. I really want to read this because it's really cool. There's like the witches, and they're angry. Angry witches are always a good read. Just let me tell you that anger and witches, magic, and idiots with guns. All of that equals a good time for the witches. So I'm going to have to sit down at some point and read this and the other one because I don't want to get behind on this. Anyways, that is some reviews. And then actually probably the one comment I found really amusing from New York Comic Con was how the Marvel had the retailers breakfast, and there's conflicting stories here. One story is only one store owner complained about the Iceman kissing a man, the Thor becoming a woman, and the replacing of all the heroes. And there's another story of once that started, store owners from both sides of the aisle were arguing. But I think regardless of which story is correct, I really do think that, granted, you could argue that the store owner who was against Marvel for the gay kiss and all that stuff, he's a bigoted asshole, which is fine. If that's what you want to believe, I believe the guy's got some issues too, but I think he actually has an important point of view in the sense that if you look at the United States as a whole, we're not all on the same page. The East Coast and the West Coast are more adapt to change, and the Midwest, South, they don't change. They don't. There's just especially the South. They are never going to change. And I'm not saying you don't have diversity because you have to have a form of diversity. If in today's market, if you want things to grow and develop, but if you ignore your customers completely, that's where the problem is. And I feel that, regardless of the side of the issue you are on with the way Marvel has handled themselves, the South, and like I said, much of the Midwest are not going to as a whole, are not going to welcome these changes in open arms. And Marvel really dropped the ball. It's one thing, Marvel did make a point. Well, we do change the characters in the past. You had Jim Rhodes, he did become Iron Man, and you had Thor turning into a frog. But when you put things into context, they happened at different times. It wasn't like everybody was switched. It was just, Thor was a frog for a few issues, and he was back again. Jim Rhodes organically turned into Iron Man, and it wasn't like here's Iron Man fighting like the Mandarin, and then the next issue, oh, here's Jim Rhodes, he's gonna be your new Iron Man. It wasn't like that. I mean, Jim Rhodes was a character. He was a supporting character who people like Marvel wrote him so people would like him. And I'm sure that wasn't the case in the time. That might not have been the plan. They're going to make him Iron Man, but by the time that decision was made, the audience liked him, and when the change happened, it was fine. Iceman, to just Jean Grey to go, "You're gay," and Iceman goes, "Well, you know what? I'm right." Really? You know what I mean? That's not the case. If you wanted to turn Iceman gay, that would have been a perfect opportunity to build the character. Make him go through the process, not just flick a switch and he's suddenly gay. That to me, you're not respecting fans at all. It's just like, in a way you can almost argue it's like what JMS did with Spider-Man and One More Day, or One Last Day, or whatever that monstrosity was called, where 1 minute they're married, Peter and Mary Jane, and the next minute, poof, gone. Marriage never happened. It's like, if you wanted fans to appreciate that change, they should have organically made it happen. Go through a year of Mary Jane questioning the marriage and why she wants to stay, and then let them divorce on their own. That's the way to do it. Fans will accept it, and it's better storytelling that way. On top of that, to just do change, like, oh, nope, no more Hulk anymore. Now it's Amadeus Cho. What? People are like, what the heck? That's not what I signed up for. And that to me was, when you combine that and with a lot of like the way Marvel's writing, very preachy. You have creators online who are blocking fans. You have creators just going insane. And I can't support any of that nonsense at all. It's just, it's very obvious Marvel does not want my dollar. And I'm very happy to buy light novels now, or more manga, or video games for that matter, because those mediums appreciate my money, even though video games, they try to entice me with loot boxes. But anyways, that's it for today. Let me know what you guys picked up, what you guys are looking forward to reading the most. We'll have some more stuff later. Like and share. I still have to do stupid reviews for some of the novels I've read. It's just very difficult right now. Video games are eating my soul. So, anyways, until next time.